We'll let that play in the background as we go in, and let me unmute Discord. I'm gonna let it play in the background while we go. Hi, guys!
Hi!
The wind sings of a journey. I kind of need to take it. I kind of need to resume playing Legend of Mana, because I do love the soundtrack to that. And I'm gonna play both versions, but I'm just gonna let them go in the background. And Jeff's about to leave for work. So, it's been a while since we last did a show. The last show we did, there was some fallout in regards to it. There was the reason why I have not been able to search. I did not put the topic in the search results because I don't want a certain fat guy that's in some other place that goes to random Ren fairs and hits on creepily on people to delete my or delete my fucking channel too. I might as well play the other version now in the background. Yep.
Let me just say this. Let him try. There's a deranged psychopath of a roommate at home waiting for some action right now.
And in the meantime, when I'm not at work, I've been playing a lot of Power World, which is why you're seeing the Chillin as the thumbnail for this, because this image just cracked me the fuck up. And I'm like, well, whatever. But anyway, I have to ask, Ty, Reese,
Yes?
Wheels,
What is it?
something happened at work today. Let me turn that down because it's probably echoing loud, because this version's louder. But something happened at work today because we started Turn at my job last week. And for those who don't know, Turn is the segment in between semesters at the college I work at, where we deep clean every single dorm room. And these are not traditional dorms college dorms that you think of. They're full-fledged apartments. 2 bedrooms, or like 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 sets of vanities, which a vanity for each bedroom, a kitchen, and a living room.
That's
Pretty
the
much like
modern
the hotel I stayed at recently.
Yeah.
That's the modern dorm for you.
Pretty much, these are apartment buildings. And they're adding a 3rd building at my location. I'm not saying where it is, but people on the server know. They're adding a 3rd dorm building, which is just straight up regular dormitory. But one of the suites we had to hit today, it was a doozy.
Ooh,
Guys?
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes? Okay. What's your question?
How do you get cat hair in a freezer?
By a cat being an idiot, or you putting the cat in there for some stupid reason? And if I one day find a TikTok video or YouTube video of somebody doing that, I'm gonna assume doing that, and it looks like doing that. I'm gonna assume that's where it happened.
If I was to take a guess, the cat had a rough day and wanted to chill for a couple hours.
If I would make fun of that, unless remember, I went to a smart Navy school for smart people, and they did get the hint to not put a melt in the microwave. To probably cloud all the buildings.
I posed this question to Jeff over the phone when I was still at work during my break. It short-circuited his brain.
His
actual reaction over the phone was, what?
It only confirms one thing, and one thing for certain. The person who stayed in that apartment definitely had a cat.
Intelligence doesn't equal common sense?
I don't even. let me make some adjusted cancel. No, I'm not changing that. Screw it. I'm just the chilt's staying up for the time being. I don't feel like removing it.
My answer is intelligence doesn't equal common sense.
There was cat hair everywhere. I'm not showing pictures, but mainly because I didn't take enough pictures. But my boss was in there. He saw the state of this suite. And for those who don't know, because I stopped by my friend's house on the way home because I took my bike today. Or my friend, my landlord boss man, who was I did work for him when I was still living at one of the places he was landlord of. And in lieu of rent, I did work for him because I didn't have anything else to do, and I picked up a lot of skills in it. He asked a pretty good question. I'm like, "Are pets allowed at this building?" And I responded with, "Yeah, when they're approved." I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure though, after this, if this person returns next year, they're not going to be approved again because we cleaned up so much hair. I could weave an entire homunculus out of it.
This answers one thing and one thing. It just say one major thing about the person. I don't give a fuck about cleaning up my cat's hair, and my cat's apparently a bear. He's a shedder like crazy.
There was cat hair in the bedroom, everywhere in the bedrooms, all around the living room, in the fucking kitchen, in the freezer, as I addressed. It was in the fridge too, or in the sink, in the fucking bathrooms.
The cat's a shedder, and in the refrigerator, I've seen videos of cats being stupid enough to want to jump inside a refrigerator.
My DeWalt, either that or they just let the cat shed everywhere and just got every fucking where. You can make I'm pretty sure I sucked up with my little DeWalt portable vacuum. I sucked up the equivalent of a quilt. I just don't. And that suite. Normally we're cleaning these suites. We get them knocked out about 2.5 hours. 2 to 2.5 hours. This took 4 with me and 3 student workers. And some of these student workers, they're only part-timers, and this is like their 3rd day on the job.
Right, but I want to say one thing. It's not the fact that this guy allowed them to shit. I have a dog that shits. It's more the fact the person looked at the shedding and went, "I'm not cleaning that up."
I just see some of these kids and the state they leave these suites, and I just think, do you not from like one of the student workers it's a foreign kid. I'm just gonna say that right now. He's not from there, but he literally asked me like, people live like this, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell him.
Some people are just that lazy.
Yeah. I'm gonna save some more colorful words I may actually have for off air, just in case my superiors somehow hear this podcast. But I'm not naming the place I work at, where I live, and that sort of thing. Like, I'm just the janitor at this place.
Well, thanks to Goku and posting up a video about graduation.
Don't say where it is.
I know what college you're referring to, but I'm not going to say it on air.
Yeah. I'd rather keep it private. But yeah, it's just that I just needed to decompress after this, and now I have a beer in me because when I stopped at my landlord boss man's, he gave me a Guinness heavy stout, so I now have that in me.
So your idea to get drunk.
Well, it's only like 5.6% alcohol by volume, so it's not really that strong. But it took the edge off. I'm like, you know what? After today, I really needed it. On a lighter note, how have you guys been?
I had a good time. That's when a good time. Been watching the the NFL schedule releases and annoyed at certain people who just stared at a few like the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals and the Seahawks and just automatically ranked them low because they hate AI.
I need something to pet. I need something to stroke.
You mean the Seahawks think they just hate Halo? Yes, Super. The schedule release video was pretty much Halo.
The Chargers, the Seahawks one was the thing about fragrances, turning everybody into they're playing against the fragrances. The Chargers, everybody loves the Chargers when they do theirs. They think they're always the best.
Oh yeah, because the last couple of years was anime, and then this year was Halo.
Oh, you skipped last year's, which was Minecraft, and they're the one that actually got improved it. And the Colts tried to do the same thing, but made a bad joke they shouldn't have made about the Dolphins, and Microsoft's going, "Wait, you didn't talk to us? Fuck you!"
Okay. I mean, keep in mind, I don't follow sports ball at all.
Yeah. But you know Halo, right?
Kinda. I never really played the games.
It's fine if you don't understand. I just need to get that my annoyance at people who just automatically rank things low because AI was involved.
All right, so I'm going to present a classic story from why I work at mall security. So one day we called up the store because apparently two people were trying to have sex. Two customers trying to have sex in the bathroom. The store called them and brought them to the back so we could go then bring them downstairs. And apparently, the dude.
Why? I have to ask, Ty. I've been to my local malls here inside the bathrooms. Why? Why would you even want to fuck in that?
Well, because
you're desperate and horny, dude. I had pictures. I think I still have some pictures of people. Hey,
babe. Now I can just imagine the pillow talk. Hey, baby, you want to bang in the stall when there's piss stains everywhere?
No.
I heard urine is a good aphrodisiac.
Like not piss stains. Once I finish my Band-Aid, if I can find the pictures, people using feces to smear.
Oh, so there's shit everywhere. Oh, that's so much better.
No, on purpose, F Obama.
that sounds more like that definitely the quality of the bathroom you described definitely says something about your area.
Yeah. Well, how many times do you see someone trying to John trying to fuck a hooker in the back of a store, and the only reason we got them on prostitution charges is because the hooker had receipts. While she was hitting on one security guard.
I'm surprised she either kept a record or had a machine to make a receipt.
No, that's in
receipt.
But yeah, the hooker had receipts, and we just look at like, wait, what?
Did she have a fucking cash register too?
I'm pretty sure if the store was today, she would have. Because the police told us, like, okay, we're taking money for trespassing, but we can't take away for prostitution since we have no proof. And the hooker's like, oh, I have proof right here. And just shows a picture and sends a text.
Oh, congratulations! You don't have evidence. You're going in the back of the paddy wagon too.
She must be stupid to go. We don't have evidence. Instead of thinking, good, I can get away with this. She goes, no. I actually have proof that we did it.
Let me work it out.
And like I said, The entire time she was in our office, the police came. She was literally hitting on the security guard that was in charge of watching her. Stories I know about because I was in the control room that day. So I had to go. But I had to leave because one of the guards was on lunch. Then come back and hear her like, hey, look like you do better than this tiny dick asshole or something like that.
And she had saw some person she had sex with. Oh boy.
Yep.
I just,
And one of and like, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Some people,
Do you think she files taxes on it?
And Wheel Girl is not, and Reese is not just a bathroom. There's a lot of people, including employees, that try to have sex in the back hallways and staircase. To the point where that's part of our patrol.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure some of the kids at my job have tried to do that, only to discover that there are cameras in there.
I'm pretty.
We have cameras too. I forget.
Dude, if you're saying the bathroom's disgusting, I don't want to know what the back hallways of your particular mall look like.
Let's go fucking the fire escape.
I'm pretty sure the roof hatches are open. Some of them.
Not even once. Meth. Not even once. I'm pretty sure they were meth heads. Or heroin addicts. Or some other thing. Or some other substance available. Because that no sane person in the right state of mind would make these decisions.
Well, at least, if it's another type of drug than the usuals, at least it's one that wouldn't straight up overdose you and kill you pretty quickly.
But Super, you said the optimal word, sane. No sane person, including you, Troy, will voluntarily work in retail.
I still stand they might be sane, but incredibly stupid.
You never work retail reels.
Stupidity is a form of insanity.
Yep. That's a nice person. That's saying a person that had faith in humanity. That work retail. And yes, I see some of the stuff that Saki had to go through. So I deal with Superstrider had to go through.
On to the next topic, because Reese hasn't really said anything, and I figure we might as well bring this up now. Reese has been working on a project.
A very, very, very long project. It's gone longer than it really should have. This was something that was supposed to have finished around Christmas. And, you know what? I have an early draft. I may as well just read it off here on the show.
All right, might as well.
It's going to take a moment for me to pull
it up. Yeah, might as well plug it because you're going to be making an actual video on your channel, probably on your Rumble or something later about the whole process. But this is just to give you guys a primer. Gives me an excuse to put the link to your channels in my description too.
Yep, just go to Rumble and look up Reese Kaine in the RKM, which is myself, Superstrider, Ty, Keg, and Wheel Girl. And whoever else might be interested in jumping on at the time. This thing started, ironically enough, 2 years ago. because it started on October 16th of 2024, where I bought an EVJ Supernova 1000 P6. And then a few months later, I bought an AMD Ryzen 9 9900X and a Gigabyte Aorus Elite. I don't know if you're hearing all the dings in the background, but I'm downloading shit off of Steam. Now, around the same time, I was experiencing a weird issue when copying files. And this annoys me to no end. But I kept getting an error that called the semaphore timeout period has expired. And for the longest time, I would agonize over this, trying to figure out why the hell this was preventing me from copying or moving files between drives. Because every time it happened, I had to either shut off the drives and restart them because I use enclosures because my cases just aren't big enough to hold all those hard drives.
And we would say he has a lot of hard drives.
I'm sorry.
Has a lot of hard drives, folks.
I download all the things. It was also around that time that I was contemplating installing on a de-bloated Windows 11 build, since it was revealed that the requirements were bogus. Because at the time, we were told that, oh, you need a motherboard with a trusted partner module, which is just IT speak for we want to spy on you, and just be able to shut off your computer from remote, which is again bullshit.
I got me a point.
On April 11, I managed to bob and weave my way around the people scalping the hot new AMD 9000 RX cards, and I managed to land me an ASRock Challenger. 9070 RX, to be precise. Around that time, I was still contemplating whether I should get the latest AverMedia capture card. Since Nintendo Switch emulation was getting better and better, by the way, I recommend Eden. It's the best one of all. And most PS4 games I had was already on Steam anyway, and Wheel Girl will tell me constantly that you don't need to get these. You've already got them on Steam. And this is true, but at the same time, what if I'm without a computer for a while? Yeah, it helps.
Hey, get what? Wait, what are you talking about?
When I was getting PS4 games, you saw what I had, and you was like, "You've already got these on Steam. Why are you buying these?"
Oh, it was the third-party ones. If it was like exclusives, I would have kept my mouth shut.
But yeah, I bought like House Flipper, Ace Combat 7, Tekken 7, just games I liked, and they were cheap. Oh, and Doom. Can't forget Doom. In late May of last year, I was still contemplating whether to go to a de-bloated Windows 11 or go with Arch Linux. However, a year prior, and Strider will back me up on this, I did try Linux Mint for a week and went crawling back to Windows 10 after a litany of problems, mostly centered around screen sharing woes, since I hang out in voice chat here with friends and we have watch parties. And Strider, you might remember this. I was going robo every single time I tried sharing my desktop.
Yeah.
It seemed like you all were going robo, but I was the one going robo. That was not fun. And when I tried sharing a single application, it would show it in real time, but there was no sound.
Yeah.
Discord on Linux is it has a rather shaky development cycle, but eventually they got their act together.
Yeah, probably because of Windows 11 and people migrating away from it because of all the BS Microsoft is doing. I'm using Windows 11 myself, and some of their choices I really fucking hate.
Why did not Russ get a new PC?
Well,
there is
installed. So.
There is a recommendation, but we will get to it. In late June, the semaphore problem kept cropping up, and I was contemplating the idea of a separate box for hosting my, quote, spinning Rust hard drives, as Cake puts it. considering ideas such as an SFF box and even a simple network attached storage. Eventually, I would try replacing the USB controller I was using for my USB 3 enclosures, preferably with one that had a cooling fan. One time I asked someone on the level 1 forums, and they said that, well, you can always take a thermometer and play the game of what gets hot. And sure enough, it was the USB controller on a PCI card that I've been using for a long time. So I tried getting one that had a cooling fan. Unfortunately, it relied too much on very, very sus Chinese drivers. I fucking hate that shit with a passion, because they don't work right, and you never quite know if they have viruses on them. Because after all, they just throw the shit together and call it a day. They never bother to check their shit. So that idea fell by the wayside, especially since there was no equivalent that was put together more sane. I would have settled for Rosewill at that point. Rosewill, for those in the back, is the in-house brand that Newegg has for their own electronics. In early July, I was still looking for water cooling solutions for my Challenger, but the only blocks that were available were for the much smaller and yet more expensive ASRock Tai Chi 9070 XT. Related to the semaphore problem, I was also struggling with an ongoing problem with being able to stream my movies into the living room for my folks. Before I had tried Linux for a week, I was using a combination of Samba and Fire VLC, which is a version of VLC for the Amazon Fire Stick. Unfortunately, going to Linux broke that, and I was never able to get that sweet spot again, even after going back to Windows 10. The good folks at level 1 suggested Jellyfin, and while it does work, in fact, Keg had streamed something, I don't remember what it was, but he streamed it directly off of my computer, and it was rather smooth, if I recall. I wasn't watching because I was away, but I know Ty and Wheel Girl were present. I don't know what it was that they all watched, but I was hoping one of you would chime in. Anyway, while it does work, I'm not fond of the fact that it constantly pulls from the internet to generate posters, backdrops, and screenshots, and to this day I'm still recovering from the fallout by deleting picture files alongside my movies and TV shows. Even what I call internet media, because I download everything, even old Screw Attack from back in the day. By the way, I gave Southern Craig access to my archive, and now he has stuff that he thought was lost to time. Even
because we're
today,
insane motherfuckers. I did the same with Jace, with with Lord Cat back in the day. I was about to dead name him, and we can't have that.
Well, I will dead name him all the time, because Lord Cat is our best friend in the whole world. May he rest in peace. Unfortunately, he did not look both ways before crossing the street, and he was hit by a blimp. But aside from that, I'm still recovering by deleting picture files alongside my movies and TV shows, and obviously it needs more tuning, but it will be a while before I try Jellyfin again. In late August, I was forced to settle on not getting a water block for the Challenger, because I was not going to try selling my card for the chance of getting a 9070 XT anything. Scalper prices were still in effect, and I simply just could not risk it. This was the only hang-up in acquiring the rest of my parts. On October 15, I got a virtual machine running with Commodore OS 3, and I fell in love. I knew in my heart that this was to be my operating system. Strider, were you around when I was streaming?
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces.
Yeah, I do recommend Commodore OS. It does work. And I'm still going to install it on the old rig for my dad because I'm going to be giving my old rig to my father. But we'll get to that in time. On November 11, I had ordered what I thought was the final set of parts. I shot for the moon and was attempting to put an Alpha Cool 420 by 60 radiator into what I thought was the best fractal design case, the North XL. I would pay for that mistake and wind up sending the RAD back for a 360 by 40. The RAD would not arrive until December. On December 11, I tried applying a Thermal Grizzly water block to the CPU and did not realize that when ordering it, they required delidding the CPU. That means actually shaving off that top piece of the CPU, which voids your warranty, and it's risky as hell. This was beyond my expertise, and I was not in a financial position, i.e., I am not Jay's 2 cents. I am not Linus Tech Tips. I don't have gobs of money to throw around to build computers left and right. I'm just a schmuck on Social Security. So, should the whole thing go plooey? So I last minute an EK block. A few days later, I had just finished installing Commodore OS on an older PC that we were going to give to a musician friend that was looking to write a book. He very nice guy named Carl. He was the bass player in my dad's old band that he has now left, unfortunately. Not because of Carl, but because of the singer who actually shows up on stage at church functions holding a beer. But I digress. That's a whole other different story altogether. Maybe I'll get to that sometime. I finally got to see Commodore OS unfiltered on a TV screen, and it reminded me of so much why I wanted it so bad for my rig, because Commodore OS is a gaming OS. It's centered around gaming. It's bundled with games. It requires close to 60 gigabytes to install because it's packed with so many games. December 18, the pins on the USB front connector got bent beyond recognition, and I had to send the motherboard off to a local shop to unbend them. Unfortunately, that was beyond my skills. I can unbend CPU pins, but only when they're unconfined. Something like this was going to be a little more difficult to do, and a lesser man would have just yelled and screamed at Gigabyte, but I knew it couldn't have been their fault. It was mine for failing to notice when trying to plug the damn thing in. I was failing to notice a lot of things. It was going to take longer than a week for the shop to get to my bent pins. Christmas came and went, and I got the case back, and I went back to work. My father, who was going to help with the loop's plumbing, was not confident that the Rajentech Antilla D5 reservoir pump was going to fit. Technically, it could fit, but it would be an extremely tight fit, requiring more skilled hands than mine. My hands are dainty, but they're not that dainty. The end of the year was coming, and already the RAM shortages were being noticed. This wound up snowballing on a global scale, as we now know. I thanked my lucky stars I had already bought the parts, at least the parts requiring silicon chips. The same computer shop was willing to use their presumably dainty hands to complete the plumbing of the pipes in the very tight spaces. January 6th, they took one look at the task and noped out. The only upside was that they didn't charge me anything. Yeah, they were like, no, this is just way too fucking tight for our fingers. Maybe they got fat fingers. I didn't really look at their hands. February came and went. We looked over the case several times and decided that even soft tubing was not possible, and I was forced to look for a much larger case. Ultimately, I went with the much updated version of my daily driver, the Fractal Design Define 7XL. Not only was it newer, it was bigger, and my God, was it heavier. It is as Strider would call a very chunky boy, much like Kirby. God bless Kirby. I would not realize until later how much heavier this case would get, though. Oh God! And imagine Imagine, if you will, Strider, because you work in cleaning filthy apartments and dorms. Imagine carrying a very fragile, close to 100-pound piece of equipment while running the risk of slipping and sliding on piss.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's my kitchen. More specifically, the dining room next to said kitchen, because I had to work in what I refer to now as piss alley, because the dogs just love to do their business on that floor. And this is next to the dinner table. It's not necessarily why we haven't had dinner at the dinner table for close to 3 years, but it's pretty damn close. I do know that very, very soon we're going to have to just remove the dinner table and just go to town on the floor there with a Swiffer and other things. Probably a full-on mop, but that's beyond my notes. March 11. By the way, you may be noticing a lot of time skips here. That's because, well, in between, we're waiting for more parts to arrive, and when it's not waiting for parts to arrive, it's just simply we're all getting older. We're getting tireder. Tireder? Yeah, I do grammar good. This house is slowly becoming an old folks' home. It's kind of sad. I'm no different. I just turned 47 this year. I'm an old man. March 11th. I would see and hear a Case fan that sang a sweet siren sound. Sang a sweet siren song that went. I decided then that I should get a few of these from a North XL and use that case as my NAS to ultimately solve the semaphore problem.
Oh God, what did you post, Ty?
What
What
thing
the?
I said?
Oh,
Look at it.
I'm not putting that on screen because that is actual
Obviously,
shit.
obviously not. But I'm sure that is the truth.
For those of you who were watching, he just posted pictures of the bathroom we discussed earlier. That is job, and written in literal human feces, "Fuck Obama." Okay. What the actual? Because it's actual literal shit. I'm not posting that on screen. But seriously, what the actual? Oh God! I have to look away. I have to look away. Where's what you're playing?
I have a question for you. Better for TV if I was to take the image and color it red.
You're coming breaking up.
The answer is any color but brown or red, because brown would mean poop, red would mean blood, and the color would just be your. Where'd you get the paint? Why do you waste paint on that?
Why do people do
I
these
was,
things?
I was thinking it'd be like a South Park situation where they took the movie and made it way, way worse, and somehow that brought it down from an NC-17 to an R.
We're not on Rumble, so I can't show that. So, or at least I'm not on Rumble.
Be that as it may, though, April 4, the bulk of the construction was complete. Just the fan controller and the bottle was left before we could begin plumbing. While I regretted sending the 420mm rad back, the clearance of the shroud covering would wind up being a blessing in disguise. April 9, I learned too late that the fill port was too big for my fill port fitting. In fact, it was bigger than all the available fittings. And I tweeted the following to Fractal Design. Is it possible to make a hole so big no pipe can plug it? These are questions that can keep a man up at night. Either way, I was able to find an Alpha Cool fitting that came close, but it was still wobbly. April 13th, I ordered the parts needed for the J-Bod NAS. JBOD, short for just a bunch of disks. Thankfully, the Silicon crash didn't make them too expensive. However, first things first, I need to get the main rig done before I can even think of putting together the JBOD. April 16th, I tested the power. The rig powers on. And we didn't have any babies to throw in the air, but if there were, we would have. All that was left was the plumbing. May the 6th. We're getting close. We're just 2 weeks prior. We hit a snag with the pipes. We needed some more 45-degree fittings. May the 12th, just last week, the plumbing was finished, coolant was applied, and the pump was not pumping. And I was getting code 99 on the motherboard's readout, indicating a super IO initialization error. May 13th, after sleeping on it, here was my exact thoughts on the matter. Okay, a pump usually turns on immediately upon power on, correct? I ask this because upon searching for potential solutions, I was told by Brave AI, to be fair, that the pump is simply not receiving power if it does not hum. If that is the case, the pump may be dead. If that is the case, and I asked about this, then I need to disassemble the pump and see if it can be repaired. I called a local computer shop just to get a different perspective on the Code 99 issue. Even he was speculating that the pump might not be plugged in correctly. My problem is this. There are 3 cables coming out of the pump, an ARGB header, a SATA power connector, and a PWM connector. The PWM only has 3 spots for pins, and the motherboard doesn't have anything resembling a PWM header. Another thing that I looked up was we're saying the CMOS that involved placing a flathead screwdriver over the jumper pins located above the front panel connectors, and the problem with that is that there was 2 sets of jumper pins. One slightly to the lower left of the CMOS battery, and one directly below the CMOS battery. Despite shining a flashlight on the board, I can't see which set says CLR CMOS jump on the jumpers. The light's just too bright, I guess. Not without pulling out the motherboard itself, and quite frankly, I'm too deep to pull out now. Yes, I went there.
If I may interject.
If you may interject, Mr. Keg.
You know, the whole CMOS issue could have been reset by simply popping out the coin battery and then popping it back in.
I think you tried that.
I
mean,
I don't know if you can. I think I just BSOD'd. Anyway.
I'm sorry. No, like
You're fine.
you have to do it for about 30 seconds, but yeah, that usually is how long it takes for the charge to come out of the board. And then, sorry, I'm being shot by giant robots. And then usually that clears your CMOS settings, globally. But again, I probably was not available to tell you this information at the time.
Unrelated, may I recommend Drunken Robot Pornography on Steam? It's just that you're shooting robots. Sometimes small robots, sometimes giant robots, but I digress.
These fucking robots are assholes. Anyways.
There just simply was not a single high-res image of the Gigabyte X870 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 AMD. Try saying that 12 times fast. That shows the clear CMOS portion of the board. The problem turned out that the coolant was trying to pump outward through the hole on the bottom of the pump that pumps inward. So no wonder there was no pump action. We swapped holes on the bottom, and we got the pump to properly pump. Also, tried saying that 12 times fast. That's the good news. The bad news is that the motherboard was still reading a code 99 on the digital readout, which means something is not present. We don't know what that is yet. While I consulted Brave AI, Dad consulted Google Gemini, and he found out that a device isn't present, which clicked in his head, keyboard. I decided what the hell and got a keyboard and plugged it in. I got a code 00, which meant the CPU wasn't present. I unplugged and replugged the CPU's power, and now it's code 99 again. Unplugging the keyboard, got another code, and fuck, I forgot what it was. In retrospect, it was 64. Nintendo Code 64! Damn it, I'm getting too old for this. I just want to play video games for fuck's sakes. I ordered one of my monitors for my current rig to go test the new rig, and no screen. Motherboard digital readout fluctuates between code 99 and code 00. Everything is pointing toward a CPU problem.
We're getting close to yesterday, actually.
May 15th. Most of yesterday was about determining whether the CPU was faulty or the motherboard wasn't updated to support the Zen 99999 CPU.
It wasn't yesterday, it was Saturday. I forgot today's Monday. Oops.
And what the safe procedure was to properly use the Q Flash Plus button. Because last time I used it was by accident when setting up the original version of my last rig. Originally, my last rig was a Republic of Gamers Crosshair Hero 7, but the USB overloaded error kept coming up even without anything plugged in, and I assumed the board was fried, so I sent it back and overnighted an MSI Gaming Plus. Ironically, one of our other now no longer friends also had an MSI Gaming Plus, so I was able to talk him through installing the damn thing. This friend I would speak to, we refer to him on my server as Voldemort. Because he's an asshole and we don't speak to him anymore.
Yeah.
God
I was
damn
scared.
it. God damn it, Red Fox.
I was scared of fucking up this thing up at 99% completion because we were just so fucking close. Unfortunately, everyone I asked gave me the blanket statement of read the fucking manual, which merely states to plug a thumb drive with the appropriate update into the marked USB slot. Which, because I couldn't see it, I kept assuming it was directly underneath the Q Flash Plus button. The board has a Q Flash Plus button, but there was no marked USB port to indicate which one is for BIOS Shenanigans. Now, I'm going to stop my notes and say, for those in the back, Q Flash is a button. You use it to flash the BIOS without having to power the damn thing. And it's a really useful feature to have if you have a CPU that's unsupported yet.
Yeah.
And it turns on just enough so that it can flash the motherboard with the appropriate firmware. And Keg, you was about to say something.
There's a couple of notes, and this is another one of those. I am so sorry I was not around while you were doing this process. Having done that on Gigabyte motherboards, my previous working rig was a Gigabyte motherboard, which I really liked, but it was just outdated, like given the technology. But yeah, I could have told you that. Yeah, I mean, while I would have also said refer to the manual. Generally, I would have also said generally the Q Flash USB that you're supposed to do is usually a USB directly under or directly above or by the NIC or the Ethernet jack or port, which is probably what it was.
Well, you should mention that. The computer is off, but with the PSU on, I have no choice but to assume the port is the one directly under the button. I pressed the button and the computer turned on and then off for 1 second. No blinking LED to indicate progress. This is why I get frustrated when people tell me to RTFM, because the manual writers assume all boards of that type will be the exact same, but it's not the same. Every board model has revisions, and this was no exception as I had a revision 1.1. Something the manual does not say, and I never would have noticed this, the BIOS port is next to the Ethernet jack on the bottom of the I.O. panel. The bottom of the I.O. panel. And in tiny writing. I have glasses with Kodak Ultramax lenses. I spent close to $300 for these fucking things. And I felt like I almost would have needed a magnifying glass to make it out. So it's working its magic now, but I won't know until later if it truly worked.
All right,
I came back.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Reese. I'm gonna play some triumphant music for this, so you have a backdrop to it. We're going back to Legend of Mana for this. Keep going.
Wait,
No,
wrong.
don't play the
guys.
fucking Final Fantasy theme, god damn it. Let Tier 7 new
Came
assholes
back
and
to
finish it again.
I came back to it. It was displaying 40 through 46 on the readout, and looking it up, it appears that those are not normal codes. But when the system is functioning normally, it switches to the current CPU temperature, which would make sense. So there's a strong possibility we're reading green across the board, but I won't know until I get a monitor hooked up to it. It'd be nice to see some good news for a change. May 16. This was 2 days ago.
Saturday.
I overnighted a little 7-inch screen and plugged it in, and I can confirm we're green across the board. I am now making final preparations to migrate data before the move. At the time, I was moving what was left of the perishable data, browser sessions, email, local save games, etc. Unfortunately, fate threw me a few more fuck yous before the end. The first one was the SATA SSDs I was transplanting from Noriana 3 to Noriana 4. Us old head techies, by the way, we named our boxing back then. And still do. The solid states were mounted on the back of the case, opposite the motherboard, which the new one can also do, no problem. Unfortunately, I failed to realize that the SATA cables plugged into the new machine were angled and pointing into the case, making it impossible to mount onto the case. I grunted obscenities and threw the SSDs into the open space where all the excess wire was, which was also where the dry bay cages used to be. Not the best decision I made, but then this was a cursed build, and I was hungry and running on adrenaline. I wanted this done today. By the way, okay, never mind. I actually wrote this down. The second hang-up was the stuff of heartbreak, and this took all day before, well, we'll get to it. And Keg will vouch for me because he was in the call.
I was there.
While attempting to install Commodore OS, I kept getting an option to boot with an AMD device C3, an AMD device C2, or disable.
Oh, I remember that.
I had not a clue what the fuck that meant. And I would learn the hard way that the Commodore OS forums are less than helpful. After 2 weeks of burning... After 2 hours of burning ISOs to thumb drives, I would learn that Commodore OS, a Linux distro, while the most recent version, released just 3 weeks prior, had the required kernel, and the Mesa packages were, but the Mesa packages were not up to date. This is bad because it needed the Mesa packages up to a certain revision before it would display on an AMD 9070 RX card. After several hours, I was forced to give up on my dream OS and settle on Mint. Thank goodness I prepared a backup. Through the evening, without food or liquids. In fact, I had not eaten for 11 hours that day. I was scrambling to get as much as I could up and running. In fact, scrambling up and down sets of stairs to go to the studio to retrieve the Commodore OS distro that I had burned onto a flash drive. I was scrambling to get as much as I could up and running. Discord, graphics, sound, browser, mail, eventually Steam. May 17. Through most of the night, I was still scrambling, and I kept noticing the motherboard readout spiking upward from 53 all the way up to 85. I'm really hoping that the rig doesn't crash and literally burn while trying to run a fucking game. And that's all I have so far regarding the notes, but there is one last update. I did play Star Trek Online late last night, and it spiked all the way up to 95. And once again, I'm an old head. I was raised to believe that just 90 degrees Celsius alone meant CPU die. CPU go burn, die.
Not dead, but you're hitting TJ Maxx on older CPUs.
After speaking with several people, speaking with you guys, speaking with side scrollers that they have a computer tech section. I spoke with a friend of ours, Seawall. He's an IT technician, and I'm waiting for a post back from Level 1, which is a really good tech forum. I highly recommend it. Level 1 Actually, I think they're called the Brotherhood of Level 1. And I
You're
also
welcome.
spoke to some local computer shops. There's two in my immediate area. They all say the same thing: 90 to 95 degrees Celsius with this particular CPU is in fact normal. Although one did say that if it goes above 96 degrees, that might be a problem. The end. I gotta take a drink.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to do a post-mortem follow-up on your diary, but you have to. There are many things with temperature with computers and temperatures you have to take into consideration, like what the average room temperature of your room is, and how that relates in relation to your rig.
Yeah, I remember. I specifically remember in when I was taking classes at my college in the computer labs. They were always very cold because they also have the server racks in there, or at least a server rack in there. So they have the AC on like 65. And I went during the summer, and it's like 90 degrees outside, and I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Yeah, same thing
the
here.
thing is, Strider, servers don't really have active cooling.
Yeah.
They're not meant for active cooling, which is why they have to use like HVAC cooling to keep those things, because those computers in particular will cook themselves because they're like, I do the things you wish your student workers would do, you know, is what they do, is what servers do. I do
At
job.
least,
You
at
teach
least
me how
with
to do
this year,
job. I do job.
yeah, at least with this year, I'm like maybe one or two of the student workers I gotten, but most of them were actually doing a really good job. I'm actually kind of impressed this, and I'm like considering. But then again, I've had like 4 other turns before this, and I've seen so many stupid things, and or how students just lock up and when they're done with the task. Oh, okay, I'm done with that. Why are you just standing around? Uh,
Collecting dust.
If their answer isn't because I didn't know what to do next, they have failed.
yeah. No, no. Literally, they responded like, I don't know what to do," when they can clearly see other areas that are still dirty and we're still working on it. I'm like, it's just we're like we have some deadlines with some of these rooms because they're moving students in immediately because they're shutting down one of the buildings because they always do that. They just move everyone over to one building because half the people have already moved out, and they just fill up the rooms, and then the rest is just, and then the other building is shut down for like any remodeling and stuff that may need to be done. It's also prepped for when camps eventually show up.
Got it. But in regards to Reese's thing, yeah, like I do wish I was around a bit more. This stuff has been hectic where I'm at the last few months.
We all have lives. You have lives. Strider has lives.
Yeah, everyone noticed I wasn't even in the calls half a lot of time last week because I was just fucking tired.
You've been running around like a chicken with its head cut off trying to get shit done.
Yeah. Or I'm like,
Yep.
I still remember one of the days I just like, yeah, I was in voice for like about an hour or so, and they say, yeah, I got a headache. I'm gonna go take some ibuprofen. I may pop back in later. About an hour or two later, I'm just asleep.
It's okay.
I just slept for
Shadow
like
realm.
10 straight hours because my body said, asshole, you need to sleep.
For the record, Keg, my room temperature is 78.3 degrees, and that's with the fan running with an air conditioner.
So just for rule of thumb, generally speaking, then your whole rig, let alone your CPU, but your whole rig can only go as low as the ambient temperature. It's never gonna you're never gonna be able to run it, below that, unless your room temperature with that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you kept your, for instance, if you kept your room at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, well, actually, you're talking Fahrenheit, right? Not Celsius.
Room temperature is 78.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
if it was Celsius, I think he'd be fucking dead.
No, well, the other thing is, the other thing I can actually say, having experience with it, is that I should have known better when I asked that question, because I was living in a fucking 70 degree plus degrees Celsius, because my rig was running at fucking 120 degrees Celsius, and my room was at 80 C. People were like, "Hey, why do you have trouble sleeping?" I turn the computer off, and then I have to have it on for monitoring purposes, which sucks because unfortunately the surveillance system we have for the cars, because we live in a wonderful neighborhood full of sometimes psychos. I needed to set up cameras. That has to be on. But the lowest my room would get was like 70 C for like a year. It's, you know. But that being said, yeah, like 95 is actually margin of error and the norm for modern AM5 CPUs. But if your rig was going above, if your rig temperature like if your RAM was at 95 C, then that would be something to be a little concerned about. Running out of bullets.
Okay, I have to feed the little monster. I'll be back in a moment.
Right.
We've already been going for over an hour. Anything else you want to add at the end?
Oh, you see eventually what that's posted a story I want to tell for the next episode. Which is going to be the shortest one.
Yeah, I might as well get more people to have something to worry. It might be another week or two before we post.
Alright.
But yeah, I also had something I wanted Reese to bring up, but his rig took a majority of the time, and yeah, we'll save that for another episode because, man, I'm gonna get this posted, and which since Keg's now in here, I'm gonna pose him the question. I asked this to everyone else at the beginning of the show, but now since you're here, Keg, I can ask you.
Hold for just a sec.
And it's the title of this episode. Well, I have two questions, but one is this one in particular because I want to hear your actual reaction. How do you get cat hair in a freezer?
I think you officially broke Kid. Congratulations.
Or did he step away?
He might have actually stepped away because I don't hear any actions that sound like somebody trying to figure out the question.
Huh. Keg, you there? I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Bad. I guess bad timing.
Yeah. Oh boy. Anything else? Now, how was your fuck? What was I trying to word? What was I trying to say? These rooms have just been blurring together for me, and I've just been mixing up room numbers because we just do so freaking much.
Apologies, I had to take that phone call. It was.
Okay. So you actually did step away because I thought the question I posed you broke your brain for a second.
No,
Because-
well, anyways, if you don't mind reciting the question really quick.
How do you get cat hair in a freezer?
I can think of a few ways. Two of them I've legitimately experienced, and but like I don't think this happened at your work. But one had to do with keeping the cat tree near a fridge.
Okay, I don't think that was because the fridge is in its own little cubby hole in at my place. So, good luck trying to do that.
Yeah, no. So, what was the culprit?
What?
What was the culprit?
We don't
How
know. This
Oh,
suite had
you
cat
don't
hair
know?
everywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They don't know
Okay.
they only know the person sitting in question had a cat. They just don't know how the cat got into the freezers to drop hairs.
There was hair everywhere, Keg. There was hair
I
in the
mean,
fridge. There was hair in all the cabinets. There was hair in the fucking bathrooms, in the bedrooms.
have you
I could have
considered they
knitted an
might be?
entire pet. I could have knitted an entire person out of this.
Have you considered they could have been a furry?
Okay. All right. We never thought about that.
Oh God! Now I need
I
TechWorks
just
in here just so you can say, I'm like, hey
okay.
Percy, do you shed?
Okay. By
At
that
that point, we need to
implication,
disinfect the entire room.
Yes.
Cake with that
Or you set it on
implication,
fire.
that has to mean the costume the person got is a shit ass costume to get hair everywhere.
Now I have to actually message Tech.
That's not
Tech,
my fault, Wheels.
and I have to message TechWorks and I'm like, does Percy shed everywhere?
Yeah.
God, now this question was posed.
Okay.
Oh God.
See,
But
because
the goblins have been
I would
thrown.
assume that was one of the things that came up.
I think that or I'm like, and the other question I had for you, Keg, do you like the thumbnail we have?
What is the where can I find the thumbnail?
It's in what you're playing, and it's also the new emoji on the server, and it's been the thumbnail this entire episode. It's pretty much sums up my brain at this point.
Oh, are you talking about the Chillit picture?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's neat.
Yeah,
I like Chillits.
I posted this screenshot on a bunch of different servers, and then every single one of them latched onto that face.
I mean, Chillit has a soothing face. I don't know what to tell you.
But some of them have, or I'm like, some of them had some really inappropriate, some really hilarious comments. Some were inappropriate. My personal favorite was MFW. My face went Jorkin Pinos.
Oh man.
And then of course this it or like it was originally I posted it on Southbird, everyone latched onto it. Then I posted it in Melee Games, everyone went and latched onto it there too. Camera was on the whole time, huh? This
Oh
picture is
God.
literally the epitome of the it's the textbook example of no thoughts, head empty. But yeah, it's been on this
That's a good
entire
thing.
episode. But yeah, as I stated at the beginning, I've been playing a lot of Power World, and well, that's the face of my female chillet.
I
And when
mean,
she's getting pets.
in a bit of a stark contrast, Reese's Saturday was the opposite of that face because we had a lot. We were thinking our head was full of a lot of things. Like,
Yeah,
why
I'll just
is
throw
Linux
at the end.
documentation
I'll
so
just throw out
shit?
the actual full image. Here, let me grab. Well, I'm just thinking. I'm just gonna throw up the whole image now. Hide that. Let's add. Wait, no. Sources. I gotta. The beer
See,
that I had earlier. Let's just SC. All right. The beer I have earlier is affecting me, so I have to navigate. But yeah, here's the whole image. Just
yeah.
put that.
So America, we're all about freedom, and your right to be able to control your facilities and have autonomy in your life and your technology. But if you ever try to use Linux, my only piece of advice as a humble literal know nothing who dabbles in Linux but does not use it regularly for this sole reason. They hate you, and they want to look like they hate you, but they also want you so hard. They are the worst type of yandere tsundere fucking community I have ever had in technology. Because they would kill you if they didn't need you to spread, their gospel of the equivalent of, pirate freedom radio in the fucking 90s and 80s. Because that was to somewhat parrot Reese's lament about Commodore OS. Everybody working on getting that working firm, that like through the 3 or 4 hours we were trying to do it collectively, we all were very disappointed that we could not. We got to the end of the thread of the support line, so to speak, the support tree, and what was waiting for us? A fucking fart in a bag and a middle finger, because there was nothing there. We did everything right, and it's just like, sorry, it just doesn't work, bro. Well, I have never been denied a blowjob harder in my life.
I'm like, a lot of the people who run like the subreddits and stuff like that for Linux, God forbid you do like Arch or something like that, where they are really high and mighty. Oh, you don't know how to do that? Yeah, we're not going to tell you.
No, but for Ubuntu or Debian or fucking Mint, they're just like, how do you not know how this is a thing? And it's like, well, because I did. This is my foray into using it. No, not now. Obviously, I have learned the things I need to learn.
I've come across a lot of the Linux people who run Linux, especially the long Linux that have been around for a good while. They tend to be assholes who tend to assume you should just know the basics just by showing up.
That's not really that's not even true in fucking martial arts, but. Which is significantly more simple than Linux than being a Linux user. But to not have everything go over everybody's head, which probably already has. I just wish there were more tech Wendells in the Linux community than there were the general community, because it's like 80-20. Like shit to
yeah, a lot of the people who are just they're just high and mighty, and and if you don't know what you're doing, that's a you. They see it as that's a you problem. We don't need to help you.
Problem. It's like,
instead of other people like, oh, well, this new person or this person's trying to get into this new operating system, and they don't know how to use it yet because they've only used one thing for so long. Here's a primer. This is what you need to do. Finding someone who's willing to actually just talk you through some of this stuff and be nice about it. It's just so, it's just so alien to a lot of people, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's like Strider. I can teach you how to change a tire on a car with an ice pick, and I can teach you how to change a tire on a car with proper tools like a tire iron and a jack stand. Which one do you think would be easier to do and make more sense?
Proper tools.
A jack.
Yeah, but see, they hand you an ice pick and say change the fucking tire, and that's the problem. It's like, no, because they assume that everybody that comes to Linux was a Windows or Mac OS power user, so that they could quickly assess systems, and it's like that's just
they tend to assume assume that anyone who wants to go to Linux must have already appreciated complexity to begin with.
So, two things I want to bring up. The first one is that the problem with Commodore OS is that it was actually meant for the C64X, which is a mini ITX computer built into an old Commodore 64 bread box case.
And it also requires like older hardware.
I falsely tried to explain what an FPGA was to Big Bill, and that was a mistake.
It was late and everything was going over his head.
Yeah, I should have just simply said it was a specific computer built for a specific software, and that probably would have made significantly more sense.
That bringing up FCA now just reminded me of the whole of that one video I once saw of the shenanigans of a possible scam. Hard to tell because the person doing it was a Spanish guy who may have some mental issues and also is a drug of making a FCA Sega system of all the major devices, including Dreamcast, and never was a thing. And all people who do FCA knows Dreamcast is a bitch to try to figure out how to do that one, because the disk drive they run GCDs are rare to find.
Yep, I mean the chips.
I was waiting so long to get a word in. I forgot what the other point I wanted to make was. I'm hoping it comes back up. It's my fault. I'm just too polite. I wait my turn, and that's what happens.
Well, I mean, Commodore OS is finicky at best when trying to implement it on consumer hardware, but apparently it worked for whatever hardware they released for the Commodore Mini or the Commodore 64, whatever the hell that thing was. It was like a micro. Is it a micro
Commodore
or a micro PC?
It's a mini ITX PC.
Okay.
By the way, I remember now what I was going to bring up.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, the Linux community, they are such hipsters that they expect you to just know their craft. But you know who was willing to help me out through all of this? Not just Keg and the community at large. Our little community. AI. A good chunk of this, I consulted Brave AI, whether it be on my computer, my old computer, or my phone.
And somewhere an AI hater will, and if an AI hater here heard this, they would bitch at you for not just trusting AI to give you the right answer.
It's very similar to the whole Hollywood problem. We got hipster jackoffs that will scoff at you because you think a certain way or because they just don't like you, even though you have money and you want to give them money, but they're like, oh, I don't want to do a thing. So we turn to AI, and now they're mad.
Yeah, it's almost to touch on your AI application, Reese. It's almost like you used AI as a fucking tool.
Yep.
And not as a way to just not as a crutch. I mean, a crutch is also a tool, but a crutch is there so that you can, aid yourself into doing the work, into learning how to walk or be more mobile. But you were using it so that you could get this goddamn project off the ground and running and get started with doing the stuff you wanted to do. You didn't want AI doing all the things for you.
artists musicians, maybe we helped us a little bit. We won't have to use AI. Or this case, I cheat jackasses.
Yeah, it's like, again, Blue and I, who was the other person helping out in this on Saturday, like we've done this before for other people where we're just there trying to pass the time, but also looking for solutions. And by the way, for those of us who didn't know now Reese knows what type of work I had to do to get the original Mix server running when I was trying to get it running on Linux. It was that type of a project. And you don't know, the thing was, Reese just couldn't find an answer. Blue and I were actively told we're retarded because we don't know how this is just supposed to work. And then we figured out, no, you motherfuckers left out at least 4 steps that were mandatory in order to get the shit to run on this particular
but we
distro.
thought you would be. But we thought you would be the ultimate power use for Windows. That's the only type of people we think would
Instead
come
of
to
being,
Linux.
your average Joe who has a life and other shit to worry about in
Oh,
IRL.
God, man,
We're not in front of a
I
keyboard
wanted to
all
do this
fucking
really
day.
cool project for my friends. Fuck you, you should know more. Oh, well, I guess you're right. Yeah.
It's
No,
a lot
it
of
was-
Linux.
it was,
It's a lot of Linux runs. Linux, the things you have to do, you have to tinker more with the computer and be more knowledgeable how computers run. They assume that's what everybody who wants to move to Linux must be like.
Yeah, for people who would ever ask me for any help with Linux at all, I would try and be more of a Wendell than a general, just a general, or me, which is I'm going to tell you everything I know about everything I know about about my experience with Linux and how what potential pitfalls you can run into. It's going to sound like a lot because it is a lot, but this is all of the gruff that comes with switching over to that platform. You can make it because, ideally, and I have to use the term ideally, Linux is like making your own car or like making your own ecosystem. That's cool in concept, but the actual work, it's almost like learning a craft. You do have to put a decent amount of sometimes significant, if you're if you're not as tech savvy, amount of effort in order for it to be mostly smooth, because then you run into the issues of when they do kernel updates or when they do, and then shit that worked previously doesn't work if you update the kernel. It's fucking. Whereas I went over this ad nauseum. Windows has a lot of problems, I know, but the user experience is so significantly better than Linux that people that argue the gamers that argue gaming on Linux, that they have legitimate, pretty good argument. But for the general user that doesn't want to deal with setting protocols, understanding. It's not that they're complex file systems, but new ones. That's a no. That's a no for a general user. Not to pigeonhole them into saying, oh, they could never learn, but you don't know what someone else's circumstances is, and sometimes they want a computer that just goddamn works, which is the only reason I say Apple has a legitimate customer stake, is because their shit just works for the people that buy into that ecosystem. Is it good? I still have yet to configure the iPad that I recently got because the person that got it for free and didn't want it, and I was like, well, I liked the iPad. Apple or iOS has decent art applications, so I could use it for that. So that's going to be, that's what I'm going to use it for. But otherwise, you could get a drawing tab. Be able to use it on a PC.
And it's a different. Actually, if you're thinking in drawing senses, it would be iPad and for a good while, the OS in iPad has diverged from the one in the phones.
Oh, okay. All right. But enough of my boring tech talk. We're usually here to blow off steam and talk about grievances.
Yep.
Except for the far cry away from cat hair everywhere and poop.
Ugh. I think we've been going long enough because we're already approaching an hour and a half. We're at like 1 hour 26 minutes.
Alrighty. I'm sorry. I came in a bit late because
Well, we all have
It's-
lives. We get it.
yeah, it's like I had stuff to do, but also didn't see the message till I got back home. So,
Better late than never.
All right. I had another thing I wanted to discuss, but we'll save it until next time. But suffice to say, earlier when I said I needed to go get something to pet, I grabbed something that Reese mailed me. He sent me.
oh,
He sent me a plush axolotl. From his latest trip to his latest vacation. And I think we'll probably address that next week.
sounds good.
Cause I have some more stories to tell.
Yep.
What fun with more security.
Yeah,
Why not next
we
time
might
on
record
Dragon
this
Ball
weekend
Z?
because it's going to be a 3-day weekend. So
Like I already posted what I tend to tell next. But it's gonna be a short story despite how many pictures I posted.
yeah, and I would just have to grab the images and stuff. But anyway, say goodnight, guys.
Good night.
You know,
Good night,
Good
guys.
night.
Good night. I'll see you guys next time.